Thank you for your time. My name is Betula, and this is Food for Thought. There's something I'd like to read to you. Life is filled with unanswered questions, but it is the courage to seek those answers that continues to give meaning to life. You can spend your life wallowing in despair, wondering why you were the one who was led towards the road strewn with pain, or you can be grateful that you are strong enough to survive it. J.D. Stroube. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. Leo Buscaglia. Nothing is more creative nor destructive than a brilliant mind with a purpose. Dan Brown. I am sorry. Did I roll my eyes out loud? Trust me, as you get to know me, I just get weirder. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by conscious endeavor. Henry David Thoreau. What is the essence of life? To serve others and to do good. Aristotle. Your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it. Gautama Buddha. You are, even in your physical expression of flesh, bone, and blood, a vibrational being. And everything you experience in your physical environment is vibrational. And it is only through your ability to translate vibration that you are able to understand your physical world at all. Abraham Hicks. Culture is not your friend. Culture is for other people's convenience and the convenience of various institutions, churches, companies, tax collection schemes, what have you. It is not your friend. It insults you. It disempowers you. It uses and abuses you. None of us are well treated by culture, yet we glorify the creative potential of the individual, the rights of the individual. We understand the felt presence of experience is what is most important. But the culture is a perversion. It fetishizes objects, creates consumer mania. It preaches endless forms of false happiness, endless forms of false understanding, in the form of squirrely religious and silly cults. It invites people to diminish themselves and dehumanize themselves by behaving like machines. Terence McKenna. No one can tell what goes on in between the person you were and the person you become. No one can chart that blue and lonely section of hell. There are no maps of the change. You just come out the other side, or you don't. Stephen King. I came into the unknown from the unknown and stayed there unknowing. I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong. I have approximate answers and possible beliefs and different degrees of uncertainty about different things, but I am not absolutely sure of anything. And there are many things I don't know anything about, such as whether it means anything to ask why we're here. I don't have to know an answer. I don't feel frightened not knowing things, by being lost in a mysterious universe without any purpose, which is the way it really is as far as I can tell. Richard Feynman. Freedom of will is our birthright. Jean Moreau. Violence, it has its place. However, what are we teaching our children? That violence will not solve their problems when governments always turn to violence to solve its problems. Turning to violence is not a solution, but the symptom of the failure to find one, an easy out. Creation is always an act of affirmation, a lust for life or activity, a restlessness accompanied by art. The art is what pleases and invigorates and mystifies me. Jean Moreau. Meditate 5 minutes each morning and see it wake up your entire life. Waylon H. Lewis. To know reality, you cannot stand outside it and define it. You must enter into it, be it, and feel it. Alan Watts. To be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody else means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting. E. Cummings. A man does not really begin to feel alive until he has lost himself, until he has released the anxious grasp which he normally holds upon life, his property, his reputation, and position. Alan Watts. Free yourself from the complexities and dramas of your life. Simplify. Look within. Within ourselves, we all have the gifts and talents we need to fulfill the purpose we've been blessed with. Stephen Maraboli. To invent your own life's meaning is not easy, but it's still allowed, and I think you'll be happier for the trouble. Bill Watterson. Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride!" Hunter S. Thompson. The warrior and the artist live by the same code of necessity, which dictates that the battle must be fought anew every day. Stephen Pressfield. I believe generally all persons must think that whatever happens to him or her is a resource. All things have been given to us for a purpose, and an artist must feel this more intensely. All that happens to us, including our humiliations, our misfortunes, our embarrassments, all is given to us as raw material, as clay, so that we may shape our art. George Louis Borges. We are the teacher, the taught, and the teaching. Private capital tends to become concentrated in few hands, partly because of competition among the capitalists, and partly because technological development and the increasing division of labor encourage the formation of larger units of production at the expense of the smaller ones. The result of these developments is an oligarchy of private capital, the enormous power of which cannot be effectively checked even by a democratically organized political society. This is true since the members of legislative bodies are selected by political parties, largely financed or otherwise influenced by private capitalists who, for all practical purposes, separate the electorate from the legislature. The consequence is that the representatives of the people do not, in fact, sufficiently protect the interests of the underprivileged sections of the population. Moreover, under existing conditions, private capitalists inevitably control, directly or indirectly, the main sources of information: press, radio, education. It is thus extremely difficult, and indeed, in most cases, quite impossible for the individual citizen to come to objective conclusions and to make intelligent use of his political rights. Albert Einstein, 1949. Truth is so obscure in these times, and falsehoods so established, that unless we love the truth, we cannot know it. Blaise Pascal. I am drawn to freaks and weirdos, the unconventionals, and the rebels, the ones who refuse the ordinary, and they are the ones who stand alone. Fear is only as deep as the mind allows. Japanese proverb. Thank you for your time.